this is Clark Sinclair. Welcome to the golden days of Australian radio. Today's presentation will...
Guns blaze and the action-packed drama of Gunsmoke. Around Dodge City and in the territory out west, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a state marshal and the smell of gun smoke. Gunsmoke is a story of the violence that moved west with young America. It's also my story. Me, Matt Morgan, U.S. Marshal. I'm the first man they look for and last they want to meet. This story takes me to Crimson, a small town in my territory west of Dodge.
Well, that's the last of them, Dad. I just closed the cupboard. Now I can wheel you out into the cool of the veranda.
Don't you bother about me, dear. You pretty yourself up. Vern Kenton's coming over to see us again tonight, ain't he?
Yes, that's right.
Well, it's nigh on 7 o'clock, so he'll be here soon. You don't want him to see you looking like that now, do you?
Well, I like that, and for my own father, too. What's wrong with me, may I ask?
Nothing at all, dear. Even though you're my own daughter, I don't think I'm shooting wide of the mark when I say you're the fairest gal in all Kansas.
You're prejudiced.
No, not at all. But you'd look even better if you changed out of them men's trousers into something more ladylike.
If Vern Kenton doesn't like me in my working clothes, he needn't like me at all. Now, we're wasting time talking in here. You should be outside in the cool.
All right. I know when I'm not wanted. I'm a-going.
Hey, take your hands off those wheels. I'll push you out.
Why do you have to keep fussing over me, Laurel?
Because you're the only pa I got, and I want to keep you as long as I can.
Yeah, come another 3 or 4 years, you'll be so sick of looking after me, you'll regret all this care.
Dad.
I'm sorry, dear. I was only joking.
I know you were.
A little breeze. It's marvelous. It's going to be a beautiful night.
Yes. Yes, it is.
You know, Laurel, the days don't matter much, but these kind of nights make me wish I could climb out of this chair and walk through the trees and down by the river and see the moonlit fields and... There I go again, romancing.
Perhaps one day you'll be able to do that again, Dad.
No, gal, never. I'm here in this wheelchair till the day I die.
Oh, you'd never know. I've been reading and hearing that there are a lot of fine doctors in the West now. Maybe one day we'll have a good enough one out this way. Or in Dodge City, he'll be able to fix you up as good as new again.
Now, you listen here. Even though they're no good to me, I've still got my 2 legs. I'm not going to let some sawbones go a-hacking away at them, so maybe I'll end up losing them altogether.
Dad, that wouldn't happen.
No, well, I'm not going to take that risk. But I sure do hate this chair. I could skin that Tony Wayne alive for putting me in it, the drunken coyote.
Dad, he didn't mean it. And all that's over and done with. Now, can't you let bygones be bygones?
I'd like to run a team of horses over his legs, see how he feels deprived of everything he's lived for, tied to a chair for the rest of his life.
Dad, he didn't mean it. That team was frightened.
Yeah, by his shots, the drunken murdering coyote. I suppose I'm lucky I wasn't one of the ones that was killed. Should never have been released from prison. Should have been kept there for life. There's one person in all this world I'd like to stand up against a fence and shoot down as Tony Wayne.
Dad, you're feeling sorry for yourself again.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, gal. I promised you I wouldn't, didn't I?
You did. So how about keeping it, huh? Tony wouldn't have deliberately hurt you. He was just a little liquored up and in the silly mood for shooting off his guns. It wouldn't even have entered his mind that the team of horses would take fright and bolt.
Well, maybe he didn't mean it, but you'd think he'd have learned his lesson while he was in prison.
He has, Dad.
Well, he still gets drunk, don't he?
I don't know. I don't spend my time in the saloon.
Well, he does. Jess has told me. Seen him drunk a lot and in a mean, sour mood. Reckon the fella's mad.
Dad, you're starting again.
Yeah, so I am.
Well, getting back to your wanting to see the fields and the river at night. Tomorrow night, if it's fine and the moon's full like tonight, I'll get Jess to fix up a buckboard especially for you, and I'll take you for a ride.
Will you, gal?
Sure I will. So don't you get morbid, Just you look forward to tomorrow night.
Hey, you're grand, Laurel. Grander gal no man could wish for.
Oh, you only say that because you haven't seen many girls.
Oh, I've seen my share. I'll have you know I was quite a lad when I was young.
I bet you were.
Yeah.
Well, now you're settled out here, would you mind very much if I went for a short ride?
A ride? Hey, you've forgotten already Bern Kitten's coming to see you.
Oh, I'll be back to see Bern.
But you gotta change and pretty yourself
I'll
up.
be back in time to do that.
All right, gal, if you want to go for a ride, you go for a ride. I won't stop you. But why in the name of the devil you want to go when you got a special visitor coming's beyond me?
I guess I'm just a chip off the old block. I, too, like to be among the moonlit river in the fields.
Ah. Well, that being the case, on your way. Sooner you go, the sooner you'll be back.
Thanks, Dad. You're the best dad in the world.
Oh, there you are, Jess. Been waiting for you to show up.
I've been down in the stable, found the horse buckets. What's your trouble, Dad?
Hey, I'm right out of back of you. Can you spare me something?
Sure, I'll be right with you. There you are.
Thank you, son.
I saw Sis going down to the stables. She off on another one of her evening rides?
Yeah, for a few minutes.
Coming quite a thing.
Well, we can't say she doesn't deserve a little time to herself, Jess. She more than pulls her weight around this place.
Oh, I don't deny that.
You know, Jess, I'd do anything in the world to make that gal happy. Anything at all.
I feel so wonderful when I'm with you like this.
It's nothing to how I feel, honey.
Oh, I wish you could hold me like this forever.
If your old man wasn't so sour at me, maybe I could. When are you going to tell him about us, honey?
I'll tell him soon. Don't rush things, darling.
Rush things? Why, I've been waiting 3 months, all but a week for you to tell him.
Tony, Dad hasn't been well enough.
All right, honey, you know best. Anyhow, you're more than worth waiting for. Does your dad still hate me as much as he did when I came out of prison?
Dad doesn't hate people, darling.
He hated me, honey. Now be honest with me. Does he still?
Well, he still curses you sometimes. But only when his legs ache in the cold weather or he can't do something he especially wants to.
I still can't see him allowing you to marry me.
He'll allow us, darling. It may just take a little time.
I don't figure he'd allow you if I was the last man on earth. So what chance have I got when he's already picked you out for Bern Kenton?
Oh, Dad's only trying to foster that because Bern's the son of Dad's old friend. But he won't ask me to marry Bern when he finds out I don't love him. He'll let me marry the man I want.
Not when the man's me, he won't.
I tell you he will. Dad'd do anything for me. I can twist him right around my little finger. Oh, now stop worrying about it and kiss me again. We're wasting time talking, and I'll have to be getting back soon.
Honey, I love you more than anything in the whole world. How can a wonderful girl like you be interested in a hobo like me?
I guess I got no sense of value.
Say, you washed your hair today.
Uh-huh.
Smells better than the sweetest flower. Even better than the best brand of whiskey.
Tony.
I was only joking, honey. And you know what? With the moon shining down on it like it is, it's just like pure molten silver. And the daylight is just like pure gold.
And when it hasn't been washed, it's just like old rope. Go on, say it. Oh, Tony, I love you.
Well, this is a pretty sight, I must say.
Bern, what are you doing out here?
Kenton!
What am I doing out of here when I should be at your place waiting for you? Well, I got tired of waiting for you every night when you've gone for your mysterious night ride, so tonight I decided to follow you. I had no idea you'd lead me to a romantic little place like this.
You gotta hide, Kenton.
You should talk. I got a gun, Wayne. I ought to shoot you down for luring my girl out here like this. Let her go.
Tony didn't have to lure me out here, Bern. I came of my own accord.
Well, it makes it worse. Yeah, I should have known you were too beautiful, too saintly. You're just one of a type. The same type as any man can find in any saloon or dancing hall.
Why, I should...
Yeah, that's just how I'd expect any dancing girl to act.
I'll kill you for saying a thing like that. Kill him!
Tony, let him up. Tony, you'll kill him.
Get up, Kenton, so I can knock you down again.
No, Tony.
Get up!
Hey, you'll be sorry for this, Laurel. Well, your father hears about it.
Oh, no, Bern. No, don't tell him, please.
Let you go on deceiving him like you've been deceiving me. Telling me you love me when all the time you've been riding out here to a rendezvous with Wayne. Probably telling Wayne you love only him and then riding back to be with me.
Get on your horse and ride before I shoot you down,
Yeah,
Kenton.
straight back to your house, Laura. You may as well get this into your head, Wayne. Her father'll never let her marry you. Never in a million years.
Keep moving.
Anyway, her old man'll be doing you a good turn. You'll never be able to trust her. Like I said, she's just a...
Tony, put away that gun. Tony, I'll have to get home and explain everything to Dad before he hears all of Bern's story.
Was he telling the truth when he said you'd be leaving me out here, riding home to love him?
Fine. Of course not.
I couldn't stand it to think you'd ever two-time me, Laurel. I couldn't. If I can't have you all to myself, nobody's going to have you.
That exact time, I was on the trail riding towards Quincy. In the distance, I'd heard 2 shots, but kind of figured it was probably only somebody out hunting jackrabbits. But then I heard... I lined up the direction of the sound, spurred my horse. About 2 minutes later, I came across it. Ma'am, what happened? Can you hear me, ma'am?
Tony, don't shoot again.
I'm not Tony. I'm a friend, ma'am. Can you tell me what happened? This fellow Tony, did he shoot you?
Yes. Tell Dad. Yes.
Where will I find him?
Tell Dad. Yes.
Well, old horse, appears I have to look for a murderer called Tony. Dead. And time a saddle roll, wrap a blanket around her. The words are still ringing in my ears. Tony shot me. Tell Dad and Jess. I'm wondering who they might be or where I'll find them when I hear a horse. Heading my way. I step back in the shadows, pulling the horse with me, and I realize the rider is heading for the scene of the crime.
Laurel!
All right, fella, don't touch that blanket.
Hey, who are you? You the fellow who shot her, mister?
Don't go for your gun. I'm covering you already.
I take it you know this gal.
Sure I know her. Why'd you kill her, you skulking murderer?
Go easy on your language. I didn't kill her.
And what were you doing hiding in the shadows there?
I'm Matt Morgan.
Yeah, and I'm Wyatt Earp.
You don't say. Well, I'm not fooling, fella. There's my badge. There's my papers to prove it. Not that you can read them in the dark. Now, what's your real name?
Tony Wayne. I'm sorry for being ornery with you, Marshal.
You say Tony?
That's right. Anything wrong with that?
It could be.
What?
How well do you know this gal?
Well enough to love her, and for her to love me?
And when did you last see her?
Why, only a couple of minutes ago. I just left her, and I was about a mile along the track when I heard the scream and the shot. Say, why aren't you going after the murderer instead of standing here talking? You must have happened along fast.
I did.
And you couldn't have missed the killer by more than a few seconds. He can't be far away.
Maybe I didn't miss him at all. Why'd you kill her?
Me kill her? You're joking.
Far from it.
For a marshal, you haven't got much brains. Do you think that if I'd killed her, I would have come back here?
Maybe if you'd left something behind, or if you'd heard me coming on the scene and wanted to give yourself a good alibi.
You're all wrong, Marshal. I love the girl. And I'm going to find the murdering coyote who shot her.
It's no use you trying that stuff with me, Wayne.
What?
All this pretending. When I got here, the girl was still alive.
She was?
Yeah, she told me who shot her.
Who'd she say it was?
She said it was you.
But she couldn't
She
have.
did.
And she didn't know what she was saying.
I'll admit she was delirious, but a person in her condition wouldn't tell a lie.
And you must have heard her wrong, Marshal. I didn't kill her. I swear I didn't. I wouldn't hurt her for anything in the
You
world.
may as well tell the truth, Wayne. You'll have trouble beating evidence like this.
What did she say?
When I jumped off my horse and walked up to her, she kept saying in a terrified voice, "Tony, don't shoot again."
You're lying.
I told her I was a friend and asked her if the fella she thought she was talking to, Tony, had killed her, and she said yes. And she asked me to tell her dad and Jess. You know her dad?
Yeah, I know him.
Who's Jess?
Her brother. Now listen to me, Marshal. This has gone wrong somewhere.
My word, it's gone wrong for you. Now get up in your horse.
What are you going to do with me?
Yeah, take you into town. The sheriff have you locked up to await trial. Maybe on the way, calling into her father to break the news to him.
I tell you, I'm innocent.
We'll let the judge figure that out. So, reluctantly and all the time swearing he's innocent, Tony Wayne leads me out of the valley and to the house owned by Laurel Jessup's father. Keep him a gun trained on Wayne. I tell him to dismount and knock on the door.
Yeah? Oh, it's you. Hey, Dad, it's Wayne.
You got a nerve setting foot near this place?
All right, that'll be enough fighting. I'm not here to watch that.
Where's Laurel?
Laurel.
Running away with you? Oh, no, she's not.
Okay, I said I don't want to see any more fighting. Now, both of you step apart and move down here off the porch.
Who do you think you are giving orders here, stranger? You a pal of this fella?
I'm Matt Morgan, Marshal of Dodge, and I got a gun trained on you. You lead with one of your fists again, I'll blow it off. Now step down from that veranda.
Matt Morgan.
Yeah. I take it you're Jess?
That's right.
Where's your dad?
Where are you, Wayne, you cunning spalpeen? What's the meaning of luring my daughter out into the valley to meet up with you?
Just a minute, Mr. Jessup.
Who's that? Didn't see you down there.
Says he's Matt Morgan, Marshal of Dodge City, Dad.
Marshal Morgan. Now, who's he think's going to believe that? Probably a friend of Wayne.
I'm no friend of Wayne, Mr. Jessup. In fact, I just arrested him.
Arrested him? What for?
Well, I don't like being so blunt about it, but I may as well come to the point. For the murder of your daughter, Mr. Jessup. In the half-light, I see the faces of the three men drop. First, they don't believe me. Then when I tell them everything, the old man's eyes fill with tears and he goes inside. The eyes of Jess and the other fella who's been introduced to me as Vern Kenton glow with hate. Before I know what's happening, they're both lashing into Tony Wayne.
All right, break it up. Wayne's a prisoner of the law now, and it's such as my duty to protect him.
Protect him? Why, the murder now?
I said break it up.
If he murdered my sister, I'm going to murder him.
Oh.
Now maybe you'll take notice.
I want to kill him.
If he's found guilty, the law will do that.
He's guilty. You admit that yourself. You got Laurel's evidence. She wouldn't have been in no condition to lie, to say he killed her if he hadn't.
No.
Well, he's guilty, ain't he?
I guess so, but we'll have to let a court decide his fate. You've been quiet ever since we rode up to Jessup's ranch, Wayne.
Nothing wrong with that, is there, Marshal?
If you didn't kill the gal, who did?
Since you're interested enough to ask, I reckon it was Vern Kenton. But I ain't going to get any chance to prove it.
I can't see any sense in anybody trying to prove anything except your guilt, after what I heard from the dying gal. If you can give me enough reasons, maybe I'll investigate it further before your trial comes up. Now tell me, why do you reckon it was Vern Kenton?
Well, the main reason is he was the only other person who knew Laurel was out there where she was shot. It was our secret meeting place till he trailed her out there tonight.
Uh-huh.
And when he left us, he was hopping mad that Laurel had thrown him over. He was full of threats and all, trying to make her turn back to him. But I reckon that before he rode very far, he realized she'd never do that. So he rode back to maybe shoot us. I wasn't there because Laurel had told me she wanted to be alone so she could work out what she was going to say to her father. So he shot her. Maybe after they'd argued a mite.
Yeah, could be.
And he was awful quiet back there at the ranch. I reckon he was scared you might ask him some questions.
Yeah, if it weren't for one thing, I suppose Kenton would be as big a suspect as you.
What's that?
If it weren't for the fact that the dying gal told me you shot her.
I can't understand that. I can't understand it at all.
It looks like cooking your goose. Unless I can find some definite proof against Kenton.
You mean you're going to try?
Yep, as soon as the sun comes up in the morning.
Then you're starting to think maybe I'm not guilty.
I wouldn't say that. I'd say I figure I could maybe make a few investigations. Mr. Jessup, I hate to bother you with questions at a time like this. But I'd like to know what time Bern Kenton arrived here at your house last night.
With all that's going on, how do you expect me to know that?
Well, it's important that I know. Can you try and remember?
I can't remember nothing, Marshal. I can't even remember what day it is.
Would it have been 5 minutes before I turned up with Wayne?
Oh, no, he rode up a long time before you two.
Or would it have been a quarter hour, a half hour?
About half an hour, I'd say, but why do you want to know about Bern, Marshal?
I got my reasons. Now, you'd say he rode up about half an hour before us. Huh?
Yeah.
Well, you know, if he'd been riding hard, if his horse was sweating.
Well, I didn't even see his horse, Marshal. He come on inside to me.
Was it Jess?
I don't know. I'll ask him. Jess!
What do you want, Dad?
You come here. Marshal wants to ask you something.
What's your trouble, Marshal?
Did you see Kenton ride up here last night?
Now, let me think. No, I didn't. I was, down in the barns doing a spot of cleaning up.
You wouldn't know he'd ridden hard if his horse was sweating.
Well, like I say, I didn't see his horse. But the man himself was all right. I wouldn't say he'd ridden hard.
He couldn't have been anywhere near Laurel when she was shot. He arrived here too long before us and without riding hard.
Well, what are you trying to prove, Marshal? That Bern Kenton murdered Laurel?
I was, but not now.
I'm sure glad. I was thinking maybe you'd gone off your head. You've already got Laurel's killer in the Crimson jail.
Before going back to the prison and telling Tony Wayne I'd given up investigation, I decided to ride down the valley and have a look at the scene of the crime in daylight. I'm sure glad I did. Otherwise, an innocent man would have been hanged. I'm back, Mr. Jessup. I'm kind of sorry to keep bothering you, but where could I find Jess?
Well, he's down there in the stable, Marshal, saddling his horse. He's going into town.
Oh, that's fine, mighty fine. I hope.
What do you mean by that?
I'll tell you in a minute. Can I come in, Jess?
Oh, Marshal. You scared me. Sure, come in.
Hey, it's a nice-looking horse.
Yeah.
Nice piece of leather to go on him, too. It's mighty fancy.
I bought it from a fellow who had it made in Kansas City.
Yeah, it's mighty fancy. Even the buckles, huh?
Yeah. One of them's come off, you see? That one there. Have to have an odd one put on. Don't know where I could have lost it.
Well, will this be it?
Oh, yeah, it sure is. Where'd you find it?
Down by the river where your sister was murdered.
What?
I also found imprints of what I'd say were your shoes that the horse he used. Anyway, we can check on them.
Marshal, you're out of your mind.
Took a long time before I got any sense out of him. But when he finally realized that he'd come to the end of the trail, he admitted it. He hated his sister. Hated the way his father loved her. Admitted that he killed her because he believed that one day his father would leave the ranch entirely to her. You know, like I told him, his big boots gave him away. His big working boots. Both Tony Wayne and Bern Kenton were wearing high-heeled riding boots on the night of the murder. About Laurel when she was dying, saying Tony killed her. Well, you see, turned out that Tony was Jess's Christian name, and Jess was only a shortened form of a surname, Jessup. That had kind of been accepted, and Tony was almost forgotten. I guess in her fear, Laurel called him Tony, not the more friendly name. And I misunderstood her dying words. You see, instead of meaning tell Dad and Jess, she'd been trying to say something like, tell Dad Jess did it. It's just the story goes to show just how careful and sure of ourselves we should be before we condemn anybody for anything.
Join us again next week when Matt Morgan fights to bring law and order out of the wild violence of the West in Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke is written by Russ Ryder and produced by Jim Bradley for our transit.
And that's it for today's presentation of the Golden Days of Australian Radio.